afternoon, and good evening. My name is Sir Meerkat, and welcome back to the Moto Meerkat channel. Wow, it's been a while, hasn't it? It's been a while since I've done that intro. Yeah, I have to apologise. Haven't made content in a little bit of a while, but we're back. I've finished university finals now, and I've completely done with uni. That's it. It's gone. Kaput, fini. Any other word that means finished. But that does mean I now have more time to focus on the YouTube channel again, so be watching out this space for more content to come in the future. And of course, now I finish uni, I am actually looking for a proper job. So if any of you know any motorsport media companies out there needing some handsome boy to man the desks, you know who to call. Now, I hadn't quite nailed down exactly what I wanted to talk about in this first video back until I started researching this topic. And it just drew me in further. I thought I've got to speak about it and give my own opinions. So, Mercedes. You heard of them? I would hope so if you're watching this channel. They've been just a little bit dominant in Formula 1 over the past few years and have been kind of since 2014 when the hybrid era of V6 engines began and the breakfast of champions changed from sex to lukewarm porridge.
What the hell did you have for breakfast?
Bunch of hookers and cocaine.
This was after Ross Brawn managed to orchestrate a deal which made sure that the brand would buy out a majority stake in his own Formula 1 team, of course being Brawn GP, after they won the championship in their debut season only the year before, mainly thanks to the double diffuser, but also thanks to Jensen's incredible weight saving of being in the seat every race. This information may not be entirely factual. The new team was able to secure sponsorship from the petroleum company Petronas, who had already supplied their stunning light blue paintwork to previous cars such as the Sauber in 2000, and this continues on the Mercedes W12 for 2021. Now, there's no question that Mercedes are one of, if not the most dominant power in motor racing today, winning the last 7 constructors and drivers titles in Formula 1, nurturing incredible talent at all stages of their careers, such as Lewis Hamilton and now George Russell, and making extortionate amounts of money in the process. According to the Watson Post, Mercedes-Benz Grand Prix generated a pre-tax profit of £17.1 million in 2019, and that was on total revenues of £363 million. We're talking some pretty big money here. So with Mercedes creating this sort of legacy for themselves in motor racing by building up this brand image of being a kingpin of the scene, why in God's name would they ever think about selling it? Why would they topple themselves from the top of the sport? Well, you guessed it right. Money talks, baby. Alongside the striking light blue that we see on the Mercedes W12, we also see another colour that's continuously getting bigger and bigger year on year. Like a type of wealthy cancer that no chemotherapy could ever get rid of, the red INEOS branding is slowly taking over. For the W12, INEOS have forced their red colouring onto the airbox and kind of all over it really, which is a complete eyesore on their entire car, in my opinion anyway, but hey, I digress. This isn't what this video is about. Their level of involvement with Mercedes has been growing since they began sponsoring the team in 2020. Yes, they've only been there for about a year and a half, and they've already began to have this much influence on what's going on at Mercedes. Pretty scary in my opinion. And they have this much influence over the whole running of the team because in December of 2020, they bought out a third of the Mercedes F1 team. Yes, you heard me right, a third, and they've barely even been involved for a year. So that now means that Daimler, the owners of Mercedes-Benz, now own a third of the Formula 1 team. Toto Wolff himself owns a third of the Formula 1 team, and now a multinational chemical company owns a third. Which seems a bit weird. Now, whether you like the INEOS brand is completely up to you. I'm not going to sway your opinion on that. But if you don't know much about them or their slightly questionable ethics, I made a video detailing just who INEOS were a little while back, which you can check out through the link in the pop-out banner that's going to be somewhere in the top corner or down in the description below. Just be warned, that video was made like a year ago, so don't be expecting the same amazing editing or boyish charm that you've gotten used to here on the Moto Meerkat channel. Couldn't even say it with a straight face. But, Meerkat, I hear you ask, what does it all matter? Surely all investment into Formula 1 is positive, right? Well, yes and no. The introduction of INEOS as a core sponsor of the brand has happened so quickly and so easily that I'm just interested to see how this will affect future changes in future. As I say, they've only been there for like a year and a half. Petronas have been there since the start and they don't have nearly this much involvement. Now it could just be a harmless sponsorship of the team, but I don't think so. I think it's the first domino in the chain to set up Mercedes selling the team to INEOS. Now, of course, I don't know when this is going to happen. As I say, it has been very, very soon since they even started getting involved in motor racing, so I don't think it's going to be in 2022. I think that is just far too soon. But I reckon in the next sort of 5 years or so, they'll slowly ramp up their involvement and suddenly, boom, we've got Team INEOS F1. Now, this may all seem like I'm jumping the gun just a little bit, but hear me out, okay? INEOS aren't exactly loose of spare change. They brought in $85 billion in sales revenue in 2019 alone and were founded by Sir Jim Ratcliffe, who is the most richest man in the UK. So I think they've got a fair few bob. So with these billions and billions of dollars that they're making every single year, Sir Jim Ratcliffe decided to recycle some of this and invest it into sporting endeavours. So let me give you a little synopsis of how he's done that. INEOS entered yachting in 2018 by investing £110 million into the UK team to create the best team with the best sailors in an attempt to win the America's Cup. So, synopsis of that, they've entered a sport at the top level, pumped loads of money in. Cool, got that? INEOS entered cycling in 2019 by buying out Team Sky, often considered the best cycling team around, for an undisclosed amount, but committed to invest $34 million a year from then into the team in future. So, a little synopsis of that. They decided they want to get into this sport, they put in loads of money and gone in straight at the top again. And finally, we look back to motor racing. INEOS have entered Formula 1 in 2020 by sponsoring the Mercedes F1 team, the most dominant team in Formula 1, putting in loads of money and getting involved really, really fast. I think I can see a little trend going on here. So it is this trend that scares me for the safety of the Mercedes Formula 1 team and their brand itself. INEOS have a history of barreling in to sporting teams, flashing the cash all over the shop and seemingly making all their problems just disappear. And with Mercedes seemingly having completed every sort of checklist that there is for success in Formula 1, I feel that it's only really a matter of time before the other 2/3 of the brand also become engulfed by INEOS. What I really don't want to happen is for INEOS and their seemingly infinitely deep pockets to swoop in, make the domination by one team in the sport even more firm than we had with Mercedes. Just make it even more boring, have way too much money going in, and just completely messes up the sport in general. Now I know that seems pretty far-fetched, it's probably not going to be that crazy, and F1, to be fair to them, are doing things to kind of stop this sort of thing from happening. They're taking precautions such as the budget cap that we all know and love, and obviously doing more things on top of that as well. But there's always going to be holes in the rules, little wiggle rooms for these teams to move about, so I think with enough money in your pockets, you can make it work and you can make the domination happen. So I'm still skeptical to how that's going to go. A little bit nervous to see what INEOS will do, but ultimately I have no real say in what's going to happen. So we'll have to wait and see how these changes affect not only that team, but Formula 1 and motor racing as a whole. Now I personally prefer teams being primarily kind of car manufacturers. However, this may not be viable into the future as automobile manufacturers continue to shift away from petroleum powered combustion engines to more kind of renewable energy sources. And the phrase that people know so well from back in the day, win on Sunday, sell on Monday, just doesn't really stand true anymore. So what reason do Mercedes have to stay in Formula 1 for the foreseeable future? It's certainly an interesting issue with people from all backgrounds having all sorts of differing opinions on how things could happen and how it could change the sport, but I want to hear your opinion. What do you think? If INEOS were to take over the Mercedes F1 team, would you see it as a positive or a negative direction change for the sport as a whole? I'd obviously love to know all your thoughts and opinions in the comments down below. Now that's all we have time for today, folks. I thought it was quite an interesting topic to speak about, and I hope you have enjoyed. If you'd like seeing my beautiful little face back on your screens, then be sure to drop a like on the video. I do really appreciate that, and let me know in the comments, God, Meerkat, you are a bloody handsome man. I have missed that face. But of course, subscribe to the Moto Meerkat channel as well so you don't miss any of my future motorsport content, so you don't miss the ChatterBox podcast episode coming out next Tuesday with a certain Kiwi YouTuber called Josh Revell. You're not going to want to miss that. And also, I'm back now, hopefully for good over summer. I've got a lot more time to make lots more content, so you're not going to want to miss any of that. But again, thank you all so much for watching, and I will see all of you Meerkats later. Goodbye, guys.